and we start talking about, timelines and family groupings and stuff like that. And I like to kind of find out what's important to them. Some photographers are so insistent on a first look and some are so insistent on not. And I'm kind of insistent on my clients being happy.
Welcome to the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show, where we chat with local wedding vendors. I'm Josh from Evermoore Films, the host of the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show, also the home of the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory, where we have over 1,000 local wedding vendors listed in the Central California area. Let's get into today's show. Welcome to the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show, where we chat with local wedding vendors. And today we are going to be chatting with Ashley from dePencier Photography. She is one of the local photographers on our wedding vendor directory. We've worked with her off and on for years, and so we're looking forward to this conversation. I'm Josh from Evermoore Films, the host of the show, and we're excited to have Ashley on to talk. Ashley, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Hey, so I'm Ashley, and I am a wedding and maternity and newborn photographer here in town. I shoot medium format film, and I just love it. I don't know.
That's great. That's great. I know you've done film for a long time. That seems to be kind of a passion of yours. Talk to us a little bit about film. I know that's something unique. Not everybody does. Just tell us a little bit about shooting film.
Oh gosh, I love film. It kind of captures my vintage soul, I suppose you could say. Something about it, the big camera, the heavy noises, and it just, I feel like it captures the color and everything just so beautifully, especially on a wedding day, brides and grooms especially. Gosh, I just love the way it captures light, and there's just something about it. I can shoot the same shot digitally and on film, and when you put them next to each other, it's like you captured their soul. I don't know. There's just something about it. I just love it. So I just keep on going, man.
That's good. That's good. Well, I know shooting film, especially medium format, does take some experience. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and your experience with photography and with weddings?
Well, I started shooting in 2010 after I graduated from Brooks Institute of Photography. I left there with a portraiture degree, so I did a lot of learning when it came to photographing people and light. Then I came home and started my business, and I didn't actually start with film right away. It took me a few years to pick it up, but I always loved it. Jose Villa was always a favorite photographer of mine to follow all through school. I had done some stuff in school with like old plastic Holga cameras and Instax and stuff like that for some like fine art classes. So that's kind of where it started, I guess. But once I kind of got my hands onto figuring out the medium format cameras and realizing that was a more realistic option for shooting weddings, I kind of dove in head first and taught myself how to use the medium format. I had started photography with my mom's Canon AE1, which is a 35 millimeter, a little easier to use, but that was actually my first camera. It's from 1983, I believe.
Nice. Do you still have that?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Speaking of vintage, I know that's definitely come back around in styles. So I guess you were doing vintage before vintage was cool, right?
Yeah. Hey, that's just me. What's that country song? I was country before country was cool.
I love it. I love it. Well, so for couples who are planning their weddings, or maybe for other vendors who maybe know you, I know at weddings as vendors, we don't always get a lot of time to chat and catch up with each other and kind of find out what's new or what new services people are offering in their business. And of course, as brides are researching, they usually have either never heard of us or they're just hearing about us for the first time. Maybe they had a friend use us, but they don't necessarily know everything that we do. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about the services that you offer and what that does for couples who are looking for a photographer.
Okay, well, first of all, I do engagements and weddings, as you know. I will travel. Hey. I've also recently started shooting newborns. I've gotten really into that. I love babies, love them. And then I also do, which is super fun. Underwater maternity sessions. I shoot those in my pool, summer only because it's not heated. But it is just so fun. It's like a whole new world underwater, literally.
Right. Yeah, I know I've seen some of your underwater, and we've done some underwater work together. So the underwater stuff is a lot of fun. And that's something that unique that you do that not a lot of people do around here.
No, I tend to pick up things that are unique and different and quirky for some reason.
Well, that's good. I'm sure that the couples who resonate with that find you and they're like, okay, you're my people.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times when I find a bride or groom or, family for a newborn or something, that tends to happen. We usually click and we know people in common, of course, because it's Bakersfield, but there's always something fun to talk about and share.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you do the weddings, you do the newborns. Are there any other photography services that you offer that people need to know about?
Well, I do portraits as well, families and high school seniors. And I've done like 1 year cake smash sessions and milk bath maternity sessions. Gosh, I mean, if it's portraiture, I do it. I
Okay.
just love to take pictures. So, I mean, I've even shot real estate and food before. So,
There you go. Well, loving to take pictures is a great place to start as a photographer. So,
mhm.
well, I know that you and I have worked together for over 10 years, and I can definitely attest to the fact that you do love what you do. And you're good at it and you have that artistic eye. So that's fun. Um, let's see. What would you say sets you apart? I mean, there's hundreds of photographers. What's unique about you? What sets you apart as people are looking? What are the things that are like? Okay, why should we talk to Ashley?
Hmm. Well, I mean, definitely the kind of vintage film thing really does set me apart. I'm not sure if there's anyone else in town that still shoots film. There were a few girls for a while. Um, but I think that between kind of my like vintage quirky soul and I kind of offer all the services that you can grow with, weddings, newborns, family photos. So you can kind of grow with me as a photographer, which is really fun. I've got a few families that I've shot their wedding, I've watched them have babies and grow up, and that's really special to be
That's
there
fun.
for all of that.
Yeah, that is fun. So you've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah.
What are some of the memorable moments, stories, favorite things that you remember? What are some of the fun things along the way?
Good memorable. Let's
I
see.
mean, it could be bad, but
Right? I
most
mean, I
people want
have
the
some
good.
stories. It's been what, 15 years? Gosh, some of my favorite memories. Oh, that is, gosh, maybe, I don't know. The first time I shot an underwater maternity, that was pretty cool to watch. And then actually, I, with the help of a friend, did my own underwater maternity session too.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Like
that was
underwater
pretty
selfies.
cool. Right? No, well, she was my second shooter. So I stole her pool and, some helpers and I directed the whole thing, and I was like, just click the button, just press the button.
That's funny.
It was work, man. Let me tell you. That was good. I mean, I've had a lot of awesome weddings. I got to shoot one of my good friends' weddings in Hawaii. That was really cool.
Cool.
I got to travel to Texas to shoot one of my family friends' weddings, and it was gorgeous. Right in the middle of the ceremony, a windstorm came up though, and her veil the whole time was like up here in the air, like standing on end just for the ceremony though.
Oh
After
man.
that, no wind all day. So that was a pretty funny one. We were all like, do we wait? Do we stop?
Oh
So
man.
there's been a lot of stuff like that that's been really fun. Traveling. I've done a lot of engagement sessions at like wineries and out in Santa Barbara and down in San Diego. So I mean, really, it's taken me a lot of places, which is great.
That's cool. So I know that weddings, um, every wedding is unique, right?
Yeah.
And every couple wants something different. So how do you tailor your services and style or however you work to meet the specific needs of each couple?
Well, I try to get to know my couples, and I get together with them about a month before their wedding when they're kind of in like full swing. And we start talking about, timelines and family groupings and stuff like that. And I like to kind of find out what's important to them. Some photographers are so insistent on a first look, and some are so insistent on not. And I'm kind of insistent on my clients being happy. I'm like, listen, you need to do what works for you. I've learned that over the years. If what's important to you is being at the cocktail hour, we won't pull you out for sunset.
Right.
That is your call. If if you want to see each other before, great. If you don't, but you're anxious, a lot of times I'll suggest like a non-first look, where they can maybe like exchange letters or like just talk to each other behind a wall so they don't actually see each other. That's helped with quite a few of my couples. A lot of my brides, not a lot, but there's been a few that they get nervous for that ceremony, just like everybody looking at them. That's nerve wracking sometimes.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm like, what calms you down? And they're like, well, he does. I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Right before, you're going to have 5 minutes of just the two of you talking, and you don't have to see each other, but if that's what's going to calm you down, we need to plan for that, you know? And I'm always at wedding days, I'm always there, like making. I turn into a mom, I guess, because I am a mom. I'm like, have you eaten anything? You need to have a sandwich before you get in your dress. Make sure you have some water. Go to the bathroom before the ceremony starts. Have you sat down today?
Right.
I'm always tending to my brides. I bustle their dresses almost all the time, and they're always like, "Oh my gosh, it's so difficult." But like my mom knows how to do it, and I lift it up, and I'm like, "Oh look, a pink and blue ribbon. I got this." Mary Rita did your dress. Like, they don't realize that I've been bustling dresses for 15 years, so
Right.
I've been up a lot of backside of a lot of dresses.
Well, so that's funny because there is so much more to photography than pushing the shutter button.
Oh yeah.
um, and I mean, really, with that, what are some things that you think photographers, if we kind of pivot a little bit and just kind of talk about photography and photographers, what are some things that photographers need to be aware of and need to be thinking about on a wedding day? I mean, with you having, done this for 15 years and, sometimes we've got photographers who are like, it's their first wedding or whatever. What are some of those things that you think are key for a good photographer?
Well, I think a good thing for photographers, especially if they're just starting out, is to have a good line of communication with the other vendors, because they're really, if you're in sync with your other vendors, they're who are going to keep your day running smooth. Video team, DJ, coordinator. It's really important to be on the same page as those people. Otherwise, everybody's just going to butt heads, and you're not going to get what the client wants. And we're all here for the client. That's a big one. I think being prepared ahead of time. I remember, gosh, probably I think it was my second or third wedding in. I hadn't figured out to make the family group list prior to the wedding. And so we're sitting there, and this was a friend's wedding, and it was small. And so it was kind of like, well, who do you want next? Well, who do you want next? Well, who do you want next? And it got overwhelming, and we missed some people, and everybody was okay with it and everything. But after that wedding, I realized, oh, maybe I should do this ahead of time. Like, not everybody thinks of that, especially if it's like their first shindig, So that's definitely something I learned the hard way. Was if you prepare and have those shots ready ahead of time, then they go smoother, they go faster. In terms of family shots, I always think start big and go small so you can dismiss people, because the less people that are around, the less chaotic it is. And I don't know, for me especially, the family group shots are usually the most stressful time of the day. Just managing that many people is a lot. So like, be prepared to be stressed, and, for the bride to be stressed too. it can be really stressful for her because it's very overstimulating. So usually I try to get somebody to bring them something to drink, water, a beer, maybe some appetizers, just to kind of try to get them through, because some of the brides will get a little hangry.
That is some excellent advice. And as a videographer for 20 years, I can concur with you that the family photo time is one of the stress points on the day, one of those bottlenecks where just it all comes together and hits the fan. And if there's a plan, that's great. And it goes way better. And if there's no plan, there's no shot list, it can be a mess. So we actually, I'm sure you have your own forms, and a lot of photographers do, but some don't. So that we actually have wedding printables on our website, the Evermoore Films website, and we have one on family photo groupings that is all about make sure you have a list for your family photo groupings. And here's, put everyone's names here and who do you want, and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles. And because a lot of brides just don't know where to start making a list like that. So we do have a printable for that on our website that is helpful.
Typically, I just have them give me a list of all the people, and then I put the groupings together and send it to them. And I go, you have to approve this,
Right.
And tell me if there's anything you want to add on, because I'm going to do all the standard groupings, but some people want, mom, grandma, bride, or dad and uncles or something like that. So that's when I have my brides come in and go, are there any particular special shots that I want? So it's less to think about for them, less stressful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that about family photo groupings. We, as vendors, know how important that is. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to chat about some advice for brides who are planning their weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Central California, you have to check out the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory. We've built one of the most comprehensive directories for local wedding vendors in the Central California area. You can sort by county and by category, so you can find anything from hair and makeup to cake bakers to videographers, photographers. We have it all. Go check it out. It's free to use for brides, and if you're a vendor looking to get your name in front of couples who are engaged, go get yourself listed on the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory. It's free to join. We look forward to seeing you there at evermoorefilms.com. Click on the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Directory tab on the top and check it out.
Elegant, romantic, timeless. Choose a wedding film that brings back the goosebumps and butterflies from your wedding day. A wedding film you're proud to show family and friends. Reliable, affordable, convenient. Choose a wedding videographer that you can trust to do an amazing job, that can creatively work with your budget, that is easy to communicate with. A wedding day is made up of priorities unique to you. No matter your budget, you choose what's important to you. Have zero regrets as you plan the wedding celebration of your dreams. Get monthly payment plans with zero deposit, online contracts, free printables, vendor lists, and more. Choose a wedding film that you will cherish forevermore. Choose Evermoore Films.
So, Ashley, what is some advice that you would have for brides who are planning their wedding and thinking about a photographer?
Well, one thing I would tell brides is, get on Instagram and look around for some photographers, check your area, look up the venue. When you find somebody you like, go to their website, ask to see client galleries. Instagram on your website is going to be the best of the best, but you want a photographer who can handle any situation, any lighting situation, any kind of setup. What do the pictures at the reception look like? I mean, not a lot of people post those. How are they photographing at night, and how are they photographing when it's noon and the sun's hot and it's the middle of the ceremony and the bride's in light and the groom's in shade, and how are they handling all the situations where the lighting and the settings are not ideal? Because you want somebody who can handle the good great, but can also handle the bad well. And not that it's bad, but just not everything is an ideal circumstance all day long. So I genuinely say, and find two or three. It's always good to talk to more than one person and kind of get, a quote and a feel. You really want a photographer that you jive with. That's important, because really you're going to be with me or you, pretty much the whole day. It's your photography, video team, and the bride and groom. You're not alone. You're with us. So you need to be with somebody who you enjoy being with on the wedding day. So you need to chat with people, check out their full galleries, and ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. I will answer anything. I mean, even if it's not photography related. Like, do you want a recommendation for another vendor? Do you want some advice on, what are my thoughts on the color scheme or flowers or something? Like, I'd happily give you my opinion. I mean, I'm obviously the pro at the photography, but I'm here to help.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things I heard you say is don't judge how good a photographer is because they had one really cool posed shot of a couple.
Yes. I mean, we're going to post our best work on Instagram. It's a highlight reel. So you need to pay attention to the broad spectrum, all the things. Check out galleries. And if you can, check out galleries that are either at your venue or at a similar venue. So you can get a feel for how the photographer might handle your settings that day.
That's perfect. We give very similar advice to couples looking for a videographer. It's like,
oh, good.
Don't just watch one video, watch a couple videos, maybe they had a one-hit wonder or whatever, because that can happen, in the world. So,
oh yeah.
Well, that was some great advice. Let's jump to the scary one. No one wants to talk about budgeting. As couples are planning their wedding and thinking about photographers, maybe you could just give us some broad spectrum advice about budgeting. Obviously most wedding photographers don't cost $5, but also most don't cost $10,000. So if you could just give couples some broad advice about pricing.
I think what you need to do is figure out your budget and find out what's most important to you. And that's where you need to put your money. Typically, at least around here, you're looking at $3,000-$4,000 for a good photographer these days, I think. Most of the time that includes engagement sessions and, your digitals and all that stuff. At least for me, it does. But, you really have to, gosh, I hate to say it this way, but you get what you pay for,
Yeah.
You need to think about that. But that's always why I say to check out a few different people, get a few different quotes. It can be sticker shock at first, I feel like. So if you have a few quotes, then it kind of gives you the idea of like, okay, this is not abnormal. This is not insanely expensive. Like you may feel that because you're not sure what photography costs. You do a wedding once in your life, hopefully, so it's just good to get your research and get your numbers in order before you book. Don't be afraid of the pricing. And, the most important thing is that you jive with somebody. So if you can find somebody that's in your budget that you jive with, then really you've won.
Yeah. That is some great advice. What are some things that brides should consider when booking with you guys specifically? Like thinking about the process, how long should they, expect for it to take to hear back from you if they inquire and just some of those sorts of things. What should they be thinking about?
Typically when they inquire, it takes me, I don't know, maybe a day or two, sometimes faster. It just depends. I'm not on my email constantly, but I do try to check it multiple times per day. Same with Instagram. If you send me a message there, I do try to get back to inquiries very quickly. And I will give my phone number out. So if I have, when I have clients, so you can text me. Maybe don't call it like 1 a.m, but so, I try to keep things quick and respond within a day or two and, answer whatever questions you have in terms of, getting photos back. You're going to book with me. We're going to set your engagement session. Those photos usually take, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe. Since I shoot film, it does take a little longer on the return because I actually have to mail the film out to the lab and down in LA. And then they have to do all the processing for me. So it takes about a week just to get through that process. And then as far as the wedding goes, you're looking at more like 6 to 8 weeks, unless it's high season. And then sometimes it's more like 9 weeks. I try really hard to stick into my window, but
Come on, Ashley. It's not
is
like you don't have a life and kids and things.
a lot. Yeah, 3 kids. They take a lot of time. Toddlers.
Oh.
So, yeah. But that's
great.
my typical, like, in terms of turnaround. And that's true for portrait sessions as well. The engagement, 2 to 3 weeks typically. I try to rush things when needed, when I can. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty standard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got to pick from my last questions. What's the best question to ask you? What is your favorite color? No, I'm kidding. What are some, maybe just take a minute to kind of brag about yourself, share some testimonials or success stories. Just happy clients. Talk about happy clients for a minute.
Well, let me tell you about them. Gosh, I brag about myself, Lord. I'm terrible at that. I mean, I'm pretty proud of the work I do. I take it pretty seriously, and I really try to make sure all of my clients are happy. I'd say in the past 15 years, I can maybe tell you a handful of clients that have had any kind of issue.
That's great.
With any, and some of them are just things that were beyond my control, even so. So I strive really hard to keep my clients really happy and create a bond with them and keep, seeing them again. So I think I've done that pretty successfly. And then, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm an artist, with the underwater and the photoshopping that I can achieve thanks to school. Sometimes it feels like I get to create art, and that's pretty cool.
That's fun. That is fun. Is there anything that you feel like I didn't ask you that you would like to share?
Lord. Gosh, I don't think so. I mean,
okay.
I feel like we covered so much.
Yeah, we definitely did. We did.
I guess if I ever had like little tidbits for my brides, like when I'm chatting with them on the phone, some of my favorite little tidbits are when you get your dress and you go to alterations, make sure you sit down in it while it's getting altered. Because when I got my dress for my wedding, I had a ball gown and did not think I needed to sit down in it. And then I went to the church and I was kneeling on the kneeler and I could not breathe because the dress shifts, when you sit or kneel. So that's one of the things that I tell every single one of my brides. When you get your dress altered, sit down.
Well, that sounds like some important advice. Breathing is a good thing.
Right? No kidding. I know they had to stop my ceremony and give me some water. You probably remember that since you were filming it.
Yep. I do remember that. Your ceremony was memorable for many reasons.
Let's not go into the rest of it.
Oh, that is fun. Oh, well, that is good. So what are the ways that couples can reach out to you? How can people contact you, get a hold of you, see your work? Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, so you can find me there. It's at ADP Photo, but photo spelled with an F, so ADPFOTO. You can message me on Instagram. You can get on my website, and the link to my website is on my Instagram. You can message me there. There's an email link there, or you can just email me directly, or you can call or text. I think my number's on my website, I think. But yeah, so I'm really great at responding to texts. Phone calls usually require a call back from me because a lot of times I'm, like in the car with my kids or driving here, for a long time I was nursing. I'm not nursing anymore, but so a lot of times when phone calls come through, I usually have to call people back, but you can call me anytime.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the last question is, what is the most important thing that you would like couples to know about planning their weddings with you?
With me. That if they have me as their photographer, they're going to have a great time and a great day because I'm awesome. No. No, they're going to have a great day. They're going to get great photos. And I'm here to help them. I'm going to help keep them calm, keep them going and keep them happy. Like, it's my job to make sure that the couples are happy on their wedding day. I mean, it's their wedding day. They should do what they want, and I'm here to advocate for them. So.
That's excellent. I have a bonus question. As a photographer, what is your favorite lens?
Oh gosh.
For a wedding specifically.
Well, for a wedding, I live on my 50. For sure. My other favorite's my 100 macro, of course. Especially for ring shots. I do love a good ring shot. Those are probably my two favorites, really. I live on my 50. What can I say? I'd probably live on my 85 if I could actually get myself to send it in for repair. But it's been sitting there for a while. I get so behind on all my client work and trying to just keep up with all that I forget to take care of myself.
Well, the cobbler's kid has no shoes, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh man, awesome. Well, thank you, Ashley. This was a fun conversation, and I hope that everyone enjoyed getting to know you and your business a little bit. And stay tuned for next week's episode, where we will have another vendor on to chat more and continue on the wedding planning journey. If you like today's episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on Apple iTunes and YouTube, where we have the video version of the show. Be sure to leave us a comment or review. Let us know what you liked, what you learned. And until next time, I'm Josh from Evermoore Films. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the Evermoore Wedding Vendor Show.